Hello, hello everyone, Dana here from Divine Goddess Cards. Today I'm going to be showing how to glimmer hot foil on Grafix Dura-Bright White, Dura-Lar Clear, and also the Dura-Lar in Matte. Okay, to start off you want to grab the plate that you're going to be foiling and your foil. Now this technique will only work with the Glimmer Foil from Spellbinders. It will not work with hot foil, so just make sure that you have the correct type of foil. So I'm going to go ahead and roughly measure out enough foil to cover my plate, and since this is a full background plate, it's going to pretty much be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. So what I do is I just roll it out, and I generally will roll out more than I need. And it does like to curl back up on itself. And I like to give myself a little bit of extra. And you just want to grab your scissors. Oop. And you just cut a piece off. It does not have to be perfect. And then I always right away put mine back in the box just so it doesn't get mixed up with any of my other foils. And then you want to take the surface that you're going to be foiling. I'm just going to be using the clear Dura-Lar. And I like to use the hinge method when I'm foiling a big plate like this. So what you're going to do is you're going to line up your surface to the almost the edge of your plate. This is probably hard to see on camera, but I did leave a little bit of a gap. And then you're going to take a piece of tape and fold it over so it's on the back of your plate and then it's on your surface also. So then that creates basically like a book sandwich. And then you're going to take your foil and you want the pretty side to be facing the plate. Think of the silver side as basically like your adhesive. And then you just want to take your surface and fold it back over, but you don't want it to crease on itself, your foil. And this can be a little fiddly because there's a little bit of static electricity going on here. Okay, there we go. Make sure my surface is straight-ish. Okay, this doesn't have to be perfect. If your foil or something's a little wonky, that's okay. You can always die cut it out later, which is what I'll be using, which was what I'll be doing for that. And then you want to take your glimmer system and you want to make sure it is preheated. You'll be able to tell that it's preheated when this platform ready light is green. And you want to take your sandwich and you want to put the plate down first. And then you'll take your pads and you'll place those on top. It doesn't really matter which order it goes in. And then you're going to hit this little button and that makes the timer go off. When this light stops blinking, that means that it's ready. So I'm just going to scoot that over to the side here. Now with the Glimmer Foil system and the Dura-Lar plastics, you might be tempted to overheat it, just thinking that, you know, everything will adhere better. I don't recommend that because you do run the risk of warping your medium, your Dura-Lar, or the foils may not stick as well. And while that's doing its thing, this is the background that I created for this card. This is just a piece of the Dura-Bright White. I put some stencil paste through a stencil and then I colored it with some Lindy's little shaker powders. And then I just let that completely dry. And here is an example of what the foil would look like on the Dura-Bright White. And then also the Dura-Lar Matte. Let me let's get a black piece of paper. You might be able to see that better. Isn't that so cool? Oh, I can't wait to make some tags and things with this. Okay, now that my timer is solid, I'm going to take the full base and carefully slide it out. Now, do not touch the bottom of this. It is very hot, so you want to stick to the handles. And you're going to carefully put it in your Platinum 6. and you're going to roll it very, very slowly. So this will add the pressure to your sandwich to make sure that the foil is adhering properly. I don't recommend running this back and forth. You do run the risk that way of things shifting inside and you may get a blurry image. So then you're just going to take your sandwich out of your machine, and I just set it back on the platform. Again, that is going to be very, very hot. I'll get my die cutting machine out of the way here. And then I just take off the plates. You can see here that it did foil the plate. It's not a big problem. You can replace these. These are essentially like your cutting plates in your die cutting system. And then again, this is very, very, very hot, so be careful. I worked many years in the restaurant business, so I don't have much feeling in my fingertips anymore. But I'm just going to set that aside so it can completely cool. You don't have to let it completely cool. I like to. I feel that the foil adheres a little bit better when it's completely cool before you take the foil off. Okay, everything is cooled. It's cool to the touch. This doesn't take very long, you know, a few minutes depending on where you live and how high you have your air conditioning set since it's summer here in the US now. This is my favorite part. This is as satisfying as watching embossing powder melt. If you know, you know. So you're just going to slowly peel your foil off. And oh, isn't that just beautiful? Let me grab my little black piece of paper again here. Oh, just look at that. Yep, there we go. Oh, glare. Isn't that just so pretty? Clear shaker cards, yes. Clear tags, yes. Little embellishments in your journals, your mixed media, yes, yes, yes. So many possibilities for this. And then save this. Don't throw this away because you can do reverse foiling with it. Off camera, I went ahead and die cut it out and created a little frame because we're going to make a shaker card with this. So I'm just going to set that aside. And I'm going to prep my base for the shaker card. To create the base for my shaker layer, I just took a die cut piece that's the same shape and I doubled up some foam tape around the edges. You will see some makers that they actually take the thicker foam tape and they just fold it and then do that. It's a lot easier, but I don't prefer to do that because I have had them pop open on me. It's probably the foam tape that I used. But so I just actually cut them in half and then double layer them. And then for the little shaker bits, I'm just taking some purple sequins and some black seed beads. And I'm just going to put those in the middle there. And then you want to make sure your frame is on the outside. So I guess you could foil it like that if you wanted silver, but we want the purple to show for this. And you're just going to line it up, and my head's probably going to get in the way here. So you just want to line it up the best you can. And then seal off your shaker card, or well, your shaker. And there you go. You've got a fun little shaker addition to for your card here. And if you want, you can take, since I used black paper, you can actually take a black Sharpie. And you can color along the edge of the foam tape if that white bothers you. I generally don't do this if I'm being honest. I don't mind if people see the mechanisms, but this is an option. See, so it just kind of covers that up so it's not as visible. Okay, there we go. Now I've got the foam tape all hidden. To adhere my shaker component onto the card base, I'm going to be using the double tack mounting film. This is a double-sided adhesive from Grafix. And I'm just going to cut a few pieces off here. This stuff is very, very, very sticky, so a little goes a long way. So I'm just going to peel off one side of the release paper and then pop it on the back of my shaker. I'm going to do the same thing with this other piece. Pull off the other sides of the release paper. Let's see. I think I want it like that. So I'm going to line it up to the center-ish. You could always get a ruler for this, but I typically just eyeball stuff, and 9 times out of 10 it's wonky, which is totally fine. Okay, there we go. Now that's good and stuck down. And then I just made this little flower embellishment to go on the side here. And to adhere that, I'm just going to use the Artist-Tac. I'm just going to get some on the back there. This sheet has been used, so I'm just kind of going around picking up the extra little bits that are left over from previous projects. I'm going to stick that down right on the front. And there we go. We have our completed Shakety Shake shaker card using the Grafix Dura-Bright on the background, the Dura-Bright White, and then we used the Dura-Lar Clear, and we hot foiled it. Thank you so much for joining me today. All of these products can be found in the description box below. If you're interested in any of the graphic surfaces or the adhesives, those can be found on grafixarts.com. Again, thank you for joining me today, and I hope I see you in the next one.